Welcome back to another look at the main card, or look at the card. As we look at UFC 289, Amanda Nunes versus Arana Aldana, which should be a good fight. But then we got the co-main, Charles Oliveira making his comeback, or somewhat comeback. I mean, with how long UFC fighters take off, with some only having one fight a year, some having two fights per year, or whatever it's at. So we got that Benny the Butcher versus Charles Oliveira. That one should be one heck of a fight. Not that Aldana versus Nunes is going to be a Nunez will be a bad fight or anything, but as they kept bringing up in the press conferences, that they kept saying, "Oh, do you guys feel like that you're overshadowed by Charles versus Benel Dariush?" I feel like that's kind of messed up in a way from the interviewers, like kept bringing that up and all, but it's a thing that everybody already kind of knew. It's kind of obvious, everybody knows that Benel Dariush Oliveira could be the main event, but usually there's got to be a belt on the line for them to be the main event. To be honest, it's been so damn long, so damn long. For Benel Dariush, who's on a 8-fight win streak, he probably should have had this, he could probably have skipped this fight and waited on Islam to have his fight in Abu Dhabi or wherever the hell, Saudi Arabia, wherever the hell they're gonna have that fight. Could probably waited on that fight to be over, then have his fight for the title. But then you got that BMF title fight that's gonna be happening with Justin Gaethje and how the hell am I forgetting Dustin Poirier. You got that fight coming up too, so that's a number one contender fight technically, and this is a number one contender fight. So you got two number one contender fights. I mean, this one in a way is not, because if Charles wins, because Charles is saying he's going to get his title fight after this, and Benny is, I guess he's promised by the head of the UFC, as in Dana and the rest of the boys. Forgetting the other boys' names, but yeah. So for sure, Benel Dariush, if he gets this dub, which I don't know, man. This is a fight where I don't know where where I stand as in who I want to win. I want both fighters. I'm a fan of both. I'm pretty sure most of us are like fans of both fighters. You really can't hate on either one of these guys. It's kind of hard to, if you've watched enough, Benny and Charles are two of those guys. Benny being just all around nice guy, non shit talking. He's like the complete opposite of Kobe Covington. If you had two, if you had the one and then the other, one would be like the complete shit talking, just people who don't like the entertainment part, or the part of just talking a whole bunch of nonsense and all that stuff. I kind of enjoy that kind of stuff, to be honest, and I don't mind the fighters who don't talk shit and stuff either, but at the same time they don't like their conferences and stuff or their interviews and stuff. Sometimes there's just kind of about them. They don't really talk shit about fighters. They just talk about fighting, which isn't bad, to be honest. I don't mind it, but at the same time, I'm on both sides. I don't mind watching both kind of fighters, or as an interview wise and stuff. Then you got one thing I was shocked about. I think I've brought this up already. The Chris Curtis versus Imanov fight. That the main fight for the whatchamacallit. I'm gonna have to decline. Whoever wanted to do the joint, whatever. But Chris Curtis versus Imanov. That fight, I feel like could be in the main card. I mean, they're headlining the prelims, or not the early prelims, the second prelims. So I don't mind that they're headlining all that. But at the same time, I feel like that fight is, I tell you, is a main card fight, or that could be whatchamacallit. It could have been a fight night card. But at the same time, Chris Curtis was like he didn't really care too much because he's pretty much getting paid the same. But at the same time, I'm not sure other like how the main card guys or the if you're in you have a title, you get the pay per view buys and all that bullshit. I'm pretty sure nobody else. I'm not sure if Charles gets some cuts or because I seen some like there was some stats somebody put out where how much pay per views Charles is selling. um, but I'm not sure about all that. Maybe I mean Charles probably gets paid a good amount of money anyways. Benel Dariush would think he gets paid a good amount of money since he's a good fighter, a contender. I'm not sure where he stands in the ranking. Actually, I should look that up real quick. Let's look at the rank. He's probably in that number. I mean, this lightweight division is just kind of it's hard to crack it. You know what I mean? Okay, so Charles is still number one. Benny's two. Justin. So pretty much those fights I was talking about. Benel Darius, Justin Gaethje versus. That's the crazy thing. Justin Gaethje's three. Dustin's two. Benel Dariush is four. You would think Benel Dariush would actually be number one with all the fights he's won. Plus, he had that crazy, not crazy, but that impressive win against Mateusz Gamrat. And just, well, he also had that fight against, who was it? Tony Ferguson. But Tony Ferguson's kind of been beat by almost everybody. So I don't know how impressive that fight is. But yeah, so you got all four of those fights in the lightweight. But for sure, Benel Dariush is getting that title shot if he wins. Charles, I'm not sure. So like after that, I'm not sure what the hell happens after that. Then you had Rafael Fiaz, who had that Justin Gaethje fight, which I rewatched, and it was kind of impressive in a way. At times, like I feel like he just needs a little more experience, and then Faziev could be that guy, or I don't know, maybe could get that title one day, but I don't know when that's going to be. Because he still had a really good fight against old boy Justin Gaethje. I mean, that's why Justin Gaethje is in the position he is right now. I believe that first round he did get, and then it all kind of fell apart after that. Was it the leg kicks, or was one thing that kind of stopped Justin Gaethje? Then you got Michael Chandler, which I don't know how he ends up at 5, to be honest. Since out of all the fighters I've brought up, he probably should be on like lower, way lower. I mean, I don't know. Him against Jalen Turner, you would think Jalen Turner would win that one. I don't even know how Dan Hooker got into the top. I guess it kind of makes sense, but whatever. Let's look a little bit more into the card. Again, Chris Kiss. That fight against, who did he fight last? It was a kind of controversial event or fight where old boy got, or Chris Kurt, was it Kevin Gastelum who hit him with his head and then he went down? Similar to Gordon versus Mr. Green or King now. His name is pronounced King now. Josh Green, something Green. I forgot his first name. But Kevin Gastelum, yeah. So Chris Curtis said he was kind of pissed about all that bullshit since he said he did win that fight. A lot of the punches he said he was taking, he was kind of like moving with the punch. I forget the exact wording he used, but it made sense. He said he wasn't really taking damage, but I guess the judges saw it a different way. And when he got hit in the head, they kind of saw it as a takedown or a knockdown. So they got him with the decision. Chris Curtis did say he was okay with the loss in a way, since he said since Kevin Gastelum had the fight with Israel Adesanya, the champ, he said he feels like now he can hang with the top of the middleweight division. And I've kind of felt that all along, the way I pronounce it. I've kind of felt that all along, but we'll see where Chris Curtis ends up after this one. Let's actually, did Imanov actually fight not too long ago, I believe. They did say he had a good fight against, was it Shemaev? It's been a hot minute. See, this is one thing I mean, obviously you love to watch these fights, but I'm like, if I can't watch the fighter fight, like, it's not like NBA and soccer and all that other stuff or footy. where you don't get to see these guys if they're not on with if they're not doing interviews all the fucking time, if they're not on all these shows and everything, you just kind of sometimes you just forget about these fighters. But that's where it was. Imanov versus Sean Strickland. It was a 5 rounder. Was it a 5 rounder? It was a 5 rounder. That was a hot minute ago. That was Saturday, January 14th, 6 p.m. They got the whole town and everything over there. Oh, that was actually a catch weight. I'm not sure who missed weight on that fight, but somebody missed a weight on that fight, and he did lose. So he's fighting two of the besties in the UFC, as you know, Sean Strickland and Kiskidis homies, and somebody else was calling out the whole squad with Chris Curtis. Oh yeah, it was Joaquin Buckley. He was like, "I want all the smoke with that squad up in what fucking gym? I can't forget the exact gym they're at. I think Gilbert Burns is out there. Sean Strickland's out there. There's a lot of middleweights in one gym, which is kind of crazy. You would think you wouldn't want to be in the same gym as a whole bunch of other middleweight fighters, but maybe you get to learn and you get some info and all this other bullshit, which I guess it's okay. I don't know. I probably wouldn't go to the same gym as a whole bunch of other middleweights. Then you got the whole other situation with the middleweight division, but this wasn't even about the whole middleweight division. You got that. Let's go back to the main card. I don't know how I got to the middleweight division, but oh yeah, with Sean Strickland and they got somebody wrote some comment which I don't feel like reading now. All right, let's Mike Malott. I'm not even sure the last time I saw Mike Malott or Adam. I don't even want to pronounce his name. I'm gonna say Fugit. It's spelled. I guess I'm not even gonna say it. It's Fugitt. I know how it's pronounced because I've been watching all the interviews and everything lately, but I'm not gonna say it. Then you got Nate the Train. Nate, not the hype train. Nate the Train. Man's the promo king of UFC. Nate the Train Landwehr is gonna be fighting this week. That should be pretty good. But see, the Chris Curtis situation, well, I'm not mad about it, but it's like Eric Andres and Mark Andre and the Mike Malott, Adam Fugit, we'll say. Those fights, I mean, Mike Malott makes some sense because he's saying that his fight is going to be a fight of the night and all that situation. If that's true, makes sense to keep that one. But the other one's like, come on, man, you got to put Chris Curtis in that situation. I believe like most of Chris Curtis fights have been bangers, and they don't disappoint. All right, let's I keep going back to that situation, but Nate Landwehr, Dan Ige. I don't even remember the last time I watched Dan Ige fight, to be honest. But Nate Landwehr, he puts on a fight every single time. This fight could probably be fight of the night easily if Chris Curtis's fight doesn't become that, just because he always puts on a show. Nate Landwehr had a fight where he had top position and all that. Instead, he told the other fighter to get up, and he was like, "Let's bang!" And they just started swinging again. That fight was one hell of a fight. I believe that was a fight night. That wasn't a pay-per-view or nothing. I'm not sure if it was Austin Lingo. No, it was. I believe this fight was 2022. It wasn't a 21. I believe it was the Onana fight. I'm not 100. Anything past a couple of months or a month, it's gone for me. But Alex Caceres was supposed to fight him with the UFC Fight Night, Vieira versus Sandhagen, and that didn't obviously happen. So now we got him in this pay-per-view, which I'm pretty sure he's happy about. In a way, you get to you have more eyes on you. But if you're a fighter who's somewhat got or is known and all, it really doesn't matter. I feel like sometimes somebody wants to watch your fights, they're gonna watch your fights. Which Nate Landwehr, he's one of those fighters where if I know he's fighting, I'm most likely going to watch Nate fight. Anything else from? Oh yeah, then there was that Brandon Loughnane knockout, which was freaking crazy. I tell you, it was like a shot to that was PFL, not UFC. PFL was on Thursday, and I got to catch some of that. I watched the co-main and main submission in the co-main. I forgot who it was, but I'm like starting to come around the PFL. It's just I didn't really have the time before, but these past couple of days I've had a little more time, so I got to watch me some PFL. Then you actually have a pretty good boxing fight this week too. You got Josh Taylor versus. It's weird. Boxing's leveled up these past fucking days. I tell you, they've started putting on some good fights. You got Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. Forget if Teofimo's last fight was a loss or a win, but I'm pretty sure there was some controversy on that. So we got boxing and some pretty good UFC. I'm pretty sure most of y'all know who Teofimo is. I'm not sure if y'all know Josh Taylor, but Josh Taylor had himself some push or whatever it's called. Forgetting the goddamn word, but whatever. He's pretty good. Is what I'm trying to say. Obviously not the top of the top, but we'll see. I believe that's Saturday as well. Not sure on the timing or anything. I'm hoping it doesn't. With UFC being on, hopefully it's an earlier fight. I'm not sure where it's at. That's the other thing. If it's abroad, then you get you get to watch yourself some boxing before UFC starts. I'm not sure if Bellator is having anything going on. I haven't seen. I was on Instagram. I did not see on Instagram anything about them. But that Lockney TKO, most people thought he was going to win, and he didn't get himself to win. Then we got what's coming up UFC wise. Jared versus Marvin Vettori. Two guys that have been somewhat, you could say, gatekeeping. Well, now they're in that position since Israel Adesanya is the champ again. They're most likely not going to get another shot because I believe Marvin's got 2 shots at Adesanya. Jared's got 1. So with that situation, it still should be a good fight, Then the rest of the middleweight division, it's kind of all over the place. They've brought in a couple of newer fighters who are not even ranked. They're fighting ranked fighters, as in Costa, and somebody else is fighting an unranked fighter, I believe. Any other fights? UFC 290 should be pretty nice. Pantoja, Brandon Moreno, Alexander Volkanovski, Yari Rodriguez. Those should be pretty good. But for today, I believe. Oh, and you got Robert Whittaker, Dricus du Plessis. We got that fight right there too. That should be pretty nice. Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner. 290 is gonna be sick actually. Now that I remember somebody posting about it, but during that time I'm like, we'll see which one of those fights actually stick around. And you got Bo Nichols fighting Terrence or Tresean Gore. I believe I've watched one of Tresean Gore's fights. He just looks for me. He's got one of those faces where you're like, you see him once and you never forget him. Tresean Gore, 5-2 in the UFC. But yeah, we got him versus Bo Nichols. That should be pretty nice. But I believe UFC wise, that's all I have to say. Actually in PFL, Deontay Wilder was out there and he brought up the fact that he'd want to fight old boy Francis Ngannou. Maybe wants to fight him if they can get a situation going where he said if he wants to come to my backyard, pretty much have a boxing fight or have a fight in boxing, then go down there and have a fight in MMA afterwards. And I know it seems like Tyson Fury doesn't want to do that shit. Plus with Dana White saying all this shit about how he wants to bring Tyson Fury to MMA and have a fight with Jan Jones. That's probably not happening because Tyson Fury seems like he wants to continue with the boxing. So yeah, that was brought up. That'd be pretty nice seeing a actual fight in boxing and then having to fight in MMA. Seeing this would probably be I don't know if it proves anything because we've seen Silva beat up a former boxer, but the majority of times it's been the boxer who's gotten the best out of the MMA guy when they go over to the backyard of the boxers, but most of them don't ever come to the side of the MMA, which maybe we'll see a little bit more in the future. Maybe they just need to throw more money if they could do that. we can have that happening. Maybe PFL does it. Maybe One Championship does it. Who knows? But yeah, Sabotage out. I don't know what the hell just happened.